start recording.
Okay, cool.
Here we are,
Wow.
making it work somehow. Okay, so I'm excited about today's topic. Thanks for joining. So we're going to talk today about fear, the idea of fear getting in the way of challenges, and in particular, Tim Ferriss's process of fear setting. So I see, Bob, you, has this been on your mind?
Oh God,
Perfect.
yes.
I love it. I love it. Okay.
I can't tell you how perfect that is.
Oh my God. Well, do you want to give us a little preview? What's been on your mind?
So I'm very fearful of something, and I'm very closing. And so we were supposed to have a brilliance session. I was supposed to do a brilliance session last week, and fear just grabbed me, and I couldn't do anything. I withdrew, and I've been living in fear. And all weekend, I'm letting go of it.
Yeah.
And I'm letting. I told my family about it, so I let them be the first ones, and now I told the community about it. And just before this, somebody was on live, and he was talking about fear. Letting go of your fear, and I said, I'm letting go, and I put it out there in his community, and I just said, this is what I'm not afraid of anymore, and I'm not. But let's.
Oh, I love it. What strikes me within that is the sense of it doesn't have to be about fearlessness, that I don't experience fear. It's more just recognizing it, creating awareness around it, and not letting it control the decisions that you're making.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you know, it's not, I'm fearless, but that doesn't mean I'm without fear.
Right. Yeah.
And it's always whatever you're afraid of on the other side is like complete joy. And I'm starting to feel the joy a little bit. Because it is joyful, but I'm afraid. I'm afraid of being judged. I'm afraid of being ostracized. I'm afraid of all of those things. But
of course, and it's normal, right? It's how I think, right? Our brains are built to keep us safe. It's their whole goal. So they're going to come up with all this sort of stuff, right, to hold us here. Meanwhile, getting in the way of so many things that we really truly want.
Safe is so not fun.
Nice. This is about fun. And I kind of equate risk and fun and wanting to take more risks.
Yes.
So have you, either of you, seen Tim Ferriss's video on fear setting, learn the process? Okay, this is going to be fun. So today will be a little different. We'll go through it together. And you can come back and I'll share the TED Talk with you both as well if you haven't seen it. I think it was in the last email actually, but it's about 12 minutes long, and it's just cool the way that he goes through it. But we'll go through it today quickly, and you might want to come back to it and spend a little more time with it. You know, I've heard it said before, right? It's the thing we fear is often the thing we most want. And that's why it's so kind of scary to us. And so, Bob, kind of to your point, like recognizing that in the first place and just creating awareness around it, first of all, is so powerful. So let's start. Bob, you probably have one in mind already, but actually kind of thinking about one thing that either maybe you've been thinking a lot about and putting off, or just not moving forward in, something that scares you, that you want, something that you are afraid of. Just take a minute to kind of think about what that might be. And it could be a bunch of things, right? So this is a tool that you can use in a lot of ways. Now I had some slides. I was going to pop these questions up, but since I'm on my phone, we'll just walk through them. Ashley, do you have a thing?
Probably.
Oh, you don't have to share if you don't want to, but you can.
Oh, no, I'm fine.
Okay.
And if I start crying like I did before when I first met you, I'll start crying. But no, it's more about...
a good way.
It's about fear of change. And I mean, what I mean by that is that I've been living here in this area for about 20 years. And I don't feel like I've really grown, taken risks. All my friends say, you know, you've lived in 2 different countries, you've been around the world, you've been to China, you've been to all over the world. You know, you've you take huge risks, and I don't think I do, because I think it's like you just said, what you most want. And the two things I most want is I really want to be a coach full time, and I need to change my environment, and I want to move into London. Most people at my age are like moving out to where I am in the suburbs, you know, near the countryside and stuff. And I'm going, well, I'm on my own. I've got no one to leave my money to. You know, it's going to be, rent's going to be very expensive in London. Do it now, you know, while you're fit and healthy, and, you know, do it. So those are the two things. I've had a very high fear of failure all my life, because that's part of an athlete. You know, when I was a swimmer, you haven't got a team to blame. It's only you on the block, and if you screw up, you know, and you beat yourself up. So I've always had a very high fear of failure, which was probably made me a very good salesperson and a business person in the selling side, because you get lots of no's, you knock on lots of doors, but you keep going. But in real life, that fear of failure, like when it comes to relationships, or what I've gone through the last year with not knowing how to be vulnerable to that person, and now I've lost that person. It was that fear of failure, you know. So that's probably the big thing, actually. Fear of failure, actually, it's probably still in my way, because
it's an underlying of so many things, right, that we want in life. And I think we talk about this, right, as coaches. It's the thing that can propel you forward to so much success, but at what cost? And then at a certain point, it can start doing the reverse, right, and really holding us back from.
Well, it's the psychology motivation curve, right? You've got to the top of the bell-shaped curve is optimal, and then if you're over nervous, you know, stressed or whatever, your performance comes down, or whatever you do comes down. It's got to be on that top bit of the curve. And you know, I've been in a race, like when I first did the World Championships, my first race, I was physically shaking and my legs were shaking. And it was only a 50-meter swim. I can do that, you know, in my eyes closed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think you're right. It's an underlying thing with me, fear of failure. And it's not about being humiliated or embarrassed about it. It's just getting frustrated with it, you know?
Well, you've had so much success, right?
No, I forget that.
So I go back to that fixed versus growth mindset, the first episode too, and thinking through that kind of how not succeeding can hold us back from taking on the challenges. So for this exercise, what I would encourage you to do is pick a specific one. So whether it's moving to London, something that you can really attach on to, something that you want, just for the experiment today, and then we'll see how it goes. Okay. So we have our things. What we'll do is I'm going to throw out these questions and give you guys a couple, you know, minutes to think through them. We'll go quicker than you might if you were to do this on your own, but at least get the wheels turning. Okay. So we have the thing that we kind of fearing moving towards. The first thing that you want to do is start listing out all of the worst things that could happen if you took this step. What is the worst case scenario? And it could be a bunch of different things. Now, Tim Ferriss would suggest go through 10, 20 things, right? Just keep going. Whether it's impact on other people or you or finances or what might happen, whatever the thing. But I can see you both wrote down a few. So
only 10?
You only got to 10 so far.
I've only got 2.
2 is good. 2 is
but I
good.
get it.
Yeah. Okay. So the next question, right? Worst case scenario. We're starting to think about the absolute worst thing that could happen if I did this thing. Second question is, what could I do to prevent each one of these things from happening, or at least lowering the risk? So just line by line, is there a way that I can prevent this? Or at least lower the risk?
Now you're talking to my project management side, risk mitigation, risk avoidance. What can I do to avoid the risk?
You know what's so interesting about so many of these experiments or working with clients is oftentimes the strengths that we already have that we leverage in so many other aspects of our life, we forget to use for this type of thing.
Yeah.
For figuring out our own stuff. You have that background, right, within you.
Yeah.
I love that.
Would have never thought of it. You're absolutely right.
Have all the answers. Okay. Give Ashley a minute. The third question, say the worst case does happen, or absolute worst scenario comes true. What could I do to repair it? Even a little bit. Or is there anyone that I could reach out to for some help? Kind of an add-on question to this one is, has anyone in the history of time less intelligent or capable than myself ever figured this out?
Probably everyone.
And this one gets me because personally, sometimes I have been guilty of feeling the only one who cannot figure this out, right? It is me somehow amongst the 7 billion currently alive and all of those who've come before us. Who's special in that regard.
Yeah, I often use that with clients for sure. You're the only one. You've never.
You're it.
Yeah, you that's it.
Exceptionally special in our ability to fail at this thing. Yeah. There's a bit of a paradox there.
Yeah, it is. Just definitely.
Okay. So we've defined it, right? What's the worst possible scenario? Is it possible for me to kind of prevent that in advance from happening or figure out a way? If it really does, what can I do? Can I come back? Can I make it better? Can I get help? Has anyone else figured this out? Okay. So the next question is, what might be the benefit of an attempt or even a partial success? And there's probably more than one. So what are the benefits? What could come? What could come of this for me or others? Bob, I love your facial expression.
You're right. Everything is always in my face, you know.
We should play poker sometime.
I'm just gonna say, everyone loves playing poker with me.
I look forward to it.
I can't.
So the benefits of a partial success or an attempt.
But I have to tell you, the thing is, it's so real time for me right now. I took that first step over the weekend, and I suffered with vulnerability hangover.
Yep.
I'm dealing with it right now, and it's working.
Vulnerability hangover is working?
No, I'm sorry. No, let me be clear. Taking that first step,
Yeah.
getting over it, realizing that that's what I got. You know, the vulnerability is where I need to be.
And I think this question is so important, right? Of the benefits of it. Oftentimes, just knowing you can do it no matter what, right? Like knowing you did the thing, took the action in some sense, no matter what, alone is the benefit. That feeling, that knowing I'm the creator of my life, right? I'm taking this ownership. Yeah.
You used the word creator. I am the creator.
Oh yeah. Okay. So one more question, and this one is the doozy that I love. What is the atrocious cost of maintaining the status quo? The atrocious cost of inaction. I get chills when I think about it. Think about it emotionally, physically, financially. And then even further, you know, what might my life look like if I don't do anything in 6 months versus a year versus 3 years? Because sometimes like, well, 6 months, it'll be okay, but a year, 3 years from now, if I do nothing towards this.
5 minutes from now, if I do nothing. The burden is tremendous.
What's that?
The burden of doing nothing is tremendous.
Mm-hmm. The pain of inaction. And I often say too, it's, people ask like, well, when, that moment of change, right? Like what, how do you actually create that change? And I often think of it as like the pain of staying the same has to overcome the fear of the thing that you're not doing.
It's the pain gain diagram of IPEC, right? I don't know if you remember pain gain.
I remember hearing about it, but I'm blanking now on the, I'm sure I know it, but yeah.
It's the
Oh
four,
yes, the four
four
quadrants.
quadrants.
That's right, yeah.
The pain of, the gain of staying where you are now, not making the change. The gain, it's the same thing. I don't remember
Same thing. Well, I think about it as when I quit my full-time, full-paying job to go into business for myself, and people would ask that all the time. Wasn't that so scary? And I thought, no, not at that point. At that point, it was far scarier doing the same thing for the next 20 plus years of life. I couldn't do it anymore. And so that was the moment.
Yeah.
So Ashley, I want anything from you that's coming up as you kind of went through.
I haven't made many of the list because I find the questions quite fundamental. You can think about them more, but sort of worst for me would be investing money in doing the business, but that's not a big one, but not getting clients and not helping clients. And so to mitigate the risk, just do some smart targeting, take one small steps at a time, focus on really over helping the first couple of clients.
Mm-hmm. Serving powerfully.
Serving powerfully, exactly, yeah.
Ah.
And the worst that could happen, if the worst happens, well, I've got a lot of people to reach out to in the coaching world, I suppose. That's what I would do. And I've reached out to local friends. A woman who's a sort of a chiropractor. She set up a practice with a whole different, a nutritionist and massage therapist. Mm-hmm. She was talking to me about having as a coach. So I think it's networking, really. The benefits, well, you might make more money, but you might get good clients. You probably get referrals.
How would it feel, Ashley?
For me, it would feel, I can't really express it really. It will be confirmation of something that I feel has been in me all my life. I've been doing it all my life, anyway. I've always been the person who would try and make someone feel better about themselves or achieve something they've achieved. I took a bunch of guys from the gym on the famous London Brighton bike ride. They'd never done anything like that before, and they all pedalled up the steepest hill that everyone normally gets off and walks, but my guys didn't, and they just felt so successful at the end. But I've always done that kind of stuff. But I want to do it in a coaching environment, and that will feel very good. And I think that will cascade lots of dominoes effects from that. You know, I don't know what book I'd like to write, but I'm sure once I've been doing that, I'll be going, wow, you know, this is really resonating with me. I need to write some more about that.
Mm-hmm.
And doing nothing for me is going to be, I will overthink things. It'll go around in my head like all my relationship problem went around in my head. The fear of failure would get worse. The fear of missing out. You know, what have I missed out on? You know, what could I have done? You know, it will be my head. I mean, financially, you know, I'm doing consulting work and I'm getting good money, and you know, some of the products that are coming out, I could make enough to retire on, but that's not what I want. My photography's given me a little bit of this passion and love back, but there's a bit missing.
Yeah.
That's the bit I want.
That's profound. Thank you for sharing all of that. And I think that's the thing in the end, right? It comes down to the way that we think and feel, less so than the tangible, actual thing in itself. It's like, what does it mean to hold that power of owning your choices and your movement forward, and trying, right? Versus not. They say, right? That's the famous line, is we regret the things we don't do more than the things that we do. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely true. Yeah.
That being said, in this, sometimes you might do this exercise and be like, nope, I'm good. I'm fine not doing that thing. And so it's really not about always having to, it's about the awareness around what really matters to you truly. And where is it something that's within you that has to come out, versus something that's maybe not alignment with your, what you really truly care about in life.
And I think that's why when I moved to London, I think there's a more vibe there, and you know, it'd be easier for me to meet more people, potentially coachees, as well as trying to do everything from out in the suburbs. You know, I just feel I need to do it.
Okay. So let's do this real quick because we're coming up on time. For both of you, and Bob, I know you're already in the action zone, right? Ashley, what is the smallest step that you could take towards this thing? And what is one resource you could use to support you in that?
You're giving me homework.
Oh, always.
I left school years ago. I don't do homework.
Take it or leave it, Ashley. I can't make you accountable to it, but I can offer it up.
So I'll just say while Ashley is writing, because I think it's important that he does that, yeah, I am right in the middle of it. I've already taken that action. I will tell you that. This is extreme. Right on target for exactly what I need to do. And I'm doing it. So, and I'm already over that hump, that pain. I can no longer feel that pain, and I can no longer do it. And I'm just on the other side of it yesterday and today, and it's like liberating. So I'll just tell you that. That's where I'm at. We don't have to get into detail.
That's so beautiful. And in knowing then you look back and think, oh my God.
Yeah, well, you know, there's all the things that were going to happen, but all those things that I'm afraid of are all internal, like you said. They're not external. Yeah. I am not going to lose anything. They're all not any less, but it is. The other thing I must say to Ashley, you know, it looks like I'm about 7 years older than you, and I've been where you are, and I am where I am, and I've taken that journey that you're talking about.
Oh, we lost you.
I mean, we can't hear you.
Yeah, what?
Oh, I'm telling you, the universe is absolutely incredible. It always does that at the moment when I'm saying something that really needs to be said. Actually, I can't let this time go by without saying that I'm about 7 years older than you. If you're 60, if you just turned 60, I'm 67. I am where you are, where I was 10 years ago, 5 years ago. Everything you say, I resonate with. I did not realize that you were a master at anything you are. I didn't realize you had this creative side that's coming out. I didn't realize you wanted to move to the city. That's exactly what I did. I retired. I became a coach. We moved to the city, New York City. You got London. We can switch houses. I can, in any way I can help you, call me.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
I'm here. I have done it.
Yeah.
I can mentor. I can coach. I could advise. I could be your best friend.
Okay.
I will connect you too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll just, it's free.
Beautiful. Oh, there you go again.
There's some,
There's interference or something.
yeah, there is some sort of interference. The spirits are with me. So yeah, so
Yeah.
please, I'll leave it up to you. I'll leave it up to you.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Contact me. Chris, give me Christine.
I
Make
will.
sure we have our information together.
I will.
Please in my calendar, and you just get on it.
Hmm.
I am here
Beautiful.
to serve. And so I'm here to serve you because you're going to have everything you want.
I love it. Beautiful.
And you know
Okay,
what?
I will connect you. Any parting? This is amazing, Bob. Thank you. Ashley, thank you for sharing. Anything that you want to kind of parting words or takeaways, your commitment?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I enjoyed that.
Good. All
Yeah,
right.
I'm
Well,
TED talk.
I enjoyed
always
it.
have homework.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Thanks.
Bless you all. See you soon. Onward. And I can't wait to see what you create. Amazing.
Well,